what you want, when you want it, where you want it. This is The Mesh.
This podcast is sponsored by Jackson Creative, a custom communication agency located in downtown Hickory, North Carolina, specializing in online content creation. To learn more, visit thejacksoncreative.com. Jackson Creative, we tell your story.
Welcome to the Street Circle Drive podcast here on The Mesh. I'm your host, Andrew Moose. First, I'd like to thank you guys for, listening to our show. If this is your first time listening to Street Circle Drive is your Hickory, North Carolina-centric podcast for people who love Hickory, North Carolina. And as you can tell by the quality of this audio, you might realize that we are recording remotely today because we are in the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic that is hitting the world roughly the end of March 2019. So please don't adjust your audio. That is what we are able to do remotely right now. So we could not do this podcast without you, and we sincerely do appreciate it. Once you've listened to this podcast, head over to themesh.tv and subscribe to all of our shows so that you'll have them sent directly to your devices. John Reap's Country-ish, big fan with Chad East and Hank Eimer, Foot Candle Films with Alan Jackson, the list goes on. On Entrepreneur Exchange with Jeff Newville and Gary Muller. All kinds of shows on our network, plus this one. Make sure you go and subscribe to us. Jackson Creative and The Mesh are now offering a business podcast platform. It's no better time than now to get your podcast off the ground and running. So today we actually have a returning guest on The Mesh. You might have heard him on I'm With the Band a few years back. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Andy Rhoney. How are you, buddy?
Hey, I'm fantastic, all things considered.
Sure. Well, Andy and I have been in conversation last few months because Andy is the co-founder of the Birdsong Society here in Hickory, and I thought it would be a prime opportunity for you guys to hear from him today and hear what they've got going on over there. So, Andy, tell us a little bit about what you got going on at the Birdsong Society.
All right. Yeah, happy to talk about it. Well, the Birdsong Society, first off, it's a nonprofit organization where we're bringing live music to Hickory. So part of the goal of what we want to do is to kind of further along the music scene in Hickory, give people an opportunity to come and see live music in kind of an intimate way. That way they can kind of experience the music without the interference of, let's say, crowd noise or noise from the bar. It's really focused on the music, and we're trying to bring in artists that we think, most all the artists are doing original music, even though some, if they're doing traditional music, they might be doing some traditional ballads and things like that, and it's generally focused around musicianship, I would say, first, trying to get some world-class musicians in here, and this whole thing is really coming out of what my father-in-law and other people started back in the 90s here in Hickory, which was called Acoustic Stage. And an acoustic stage, the point of that was at the time they could not go see live music that they wanted to hear, which at that time was, Americana, folk, traditional bluegrass. So they started Acoustic Stage to bring in acts like Doc Watson and Jerry Douglas and Sam Bush and Tony Rice, and they brought all these great people in many times, and they might have them play in somebody's living room, or they might have a venue where they go play, and so they did that for like 20 years, and that kind of fizzled out, and then so we just said, hey, we'd like to do something like that again. So my father-in-law and I, Skipper Smith, and his wife Fan Smith, we all kind of got together and talked about it, along with my wife Andy Rhoney, and we came up with the name Birdsong Society. And came up with the idea to do this again, and we pitched it to people and had a free show with this band called Hawktail. They came in and just absolutely blew everybody away. We raised a bunch of money that night, and enough to where we can have a little bit of a nest egg there to sit on, so we can bring in more acts. And so far, we've had one other show, which was Bandits on the Run, a Brooklyn-based band, and it came in. It was another huge success. And Andrew, you helped me out with the sound with that one, along with Bobby Grace, and it was a fantastic night. Thank you for that, man. So,
man, you're welcome.
That's kind of where we're at.
Yeah, for sure. And Bobby and I really enjoyed that experience. The Bandits on the Run were just, those guys are just really good. And, believe it or not, they were actually on the Mesh, I believe like 2 years ago. I'm with the band. You can go and check them out. I'll make
Cool.
sure all the links are there for the podcast, so you guys can go and check out all those. But yeah, that band is tremendous. Like I'm right there with Skipper, like I'm usually about the players, I want to see music.
Yeah.
I want to see music happen. Not to say these guys weren't players, but man, dang, their 3-part harmonies are out of this world. They know how to do that. They're just so, if singing in the pocket is such an art form, and they got that thing, they figured it out. And it was real fun. The Regina, the girl who's on the on the end there, she plays all kinds of things. When she sent us the stage plot, it just said toys. We're like, what is this? And she played a kid's xylophone, and she played an accordion and all sorts of stuff. So it was wild. We loved doing the sound for it, and they were really fantastic. And I think just like Hawktail, I was at the Hawktail show as a patron, and they were fantastic. But Bandits on the Run, man, like, granted, they've got super Hickory ties, with Sydney, and they blew me away. It was so much fun listening to them. And anyway, but so with all this craziness, I know that you probably don't have any events to share because everything's up in the air. But I love the concept, and you and I have talked about this before, of really setting the stage of a music performance, and you guys really did that well. It was a seated show, and there was what the 150 people, right?
We had a little bit over 200.
Over 200. Okay. So very intimate crowd, and you could get in there and everybody was super respectful. And, it was just so much fun. And it created such a really good room. It was just done really well, man. I'm looking forward to seeing, I'm looking forward to seeing a lot more come out of that, because Hickory needs that. Hickory needs great music coming through, because, like we see, every day that, music is the lifeblood of communities, man. Like, people love listening to live music, and and you guys are definitely doing being the vehicle for that.
Man, I appreciate it. And part of that vehicle is, just to add on to that, is like what John Duke was doing for us over there at the main cellar, which is part of Market on Main, downstairs at the main city cellar. He's essentially given us a space that we can use for the music, and it works perfectly for that between 100 and 200 crowd. And we've got the flexibility to go anywhere we want to be. We're essentially a music production company, where we can put up the money, and we can get the bands in, and then we can have another venue. We can partner with people. We can raise money being a nonprofit. So one of the things we're talking about doing is maybe doing a scholarship for young musicians, when they're trying to go to music school, or whether they want to go to Hickory Music Factory. So we've been approached by Hickory Music Factory, been approached by the Art Museum, been approached by different people, because I guess they see we're a professional outfit, and we take this seriously. But at the same time, it's loose enough to where the point of it's have fun. You know what I mean? And it's supposed to be like a community. So we're trying to create a community. And actually our slogan, or whatever you want to call it, tagline is share live music together. And that's what we're trying to share. We want to do it in person, all about the music, and we want to do it together. So and we need support from people. You were asking about things coming up in the future. Well, I've got one guy who runs a label out of Texas that he's got bands over there he's sending to me. So I'm putting together a co-bill right now for September. What looks like it's going to be Patrick Sweeney opening up for the Greyhounds. Now, this is a huge departure from what we just did. This is more rock and roll, no seats. And I talked to a couple friends, and so I've got some friends that are going to put up a little bit of money, like 4 or 5 of us, just to get the base going, so that we can charge $10 or $15 a ticket, so we can get a lot of people in there and pack it out. And so that's one of the things we got going, because I want to be flexible enough where we can do that. And then again, that might not even go under Birdsong. That might be under something else. Right. Because Skipper and my mother-in-law, they got a pretty specific thing with the patrons that have given money, kind of what they want to see, which is generally more along the lines of the Americana traditional music. but they're still writing original music in that genre. So one of the other people we have is Liam Bailey. He's supposed to be playing in June when his album releases, and that's going to be an exciting show because he is a Nashville guy, but he's now living in Hickory, and he's been here, and we're lucky to have him. He's writing all original music, but it's in traditional form of Irish Celtic, and he's playing a banjo, but the guy can play violin. He can sing like Paul McCartney. He's got like stage presence like a late night talk show host. So I mean, it's going to be like that. That one's going to be super, super stellar. And those are really about the only two we have on now. We've got offers out to about 3 people, but I can't really say anything about those yet because nobody knows when they're going to get back to work.
Yeah, that's the most difficult part about all this, for musicians is that it's just uncertainty, and for everyone else in this time, it's just so hard to plan out anything. And, I'm involved in some festivals and some other things with the downtown, and it's, the times of uncertainty just kind of are just here, and it's hard to really do anything. So, but the lineups and the room that you guys set up for the last 2 events, though, like I can see why people are attracted to that, because like that was just such a really cool experience. I thought the room just, the way that it was set up, it was set up great for that sort of thing. But, like you said, you could easily just take those chairs out and have just a banger rock and roll show in there.
Yeah. That's what, that's, me, and I like music that's a little bit more upbeat, a little more moving, and I like to dance. And that's like, if you go to Orange Pill and try to see a band, you can't dance. You got somebody up on your elbows and you got somebody in front of you, your back, and you're just moving with the motion of the ocean. You know what I'm saying? It's like you got no independent free dance movements happening. And I like to move my elbows and my feet and, dance around. And so we need something like that in Hickory. Like there's no place that I'm aware of in Hickory where people go and dance to live music and boogie, and that's one of the things that's one of my goals is to have that along with the other side of that traditional music where you're honoring the musician and everybody's kind of quiet. I like a raucous room, right? So that's part of what I want to do personally. And like I said, I don't know if that's Birdsong or not, maybe that's me and you setting that up and doing that, but, or whoever, but, we've got, we're going to have a board meeting here soon. We got some patrons that are on there that have, done some significant things for us, like the Bush family, Bobby Bush and them, Landon Lane, Bill Bost is a huge part of this, and he was a huge part of acoustic stage. Now he's more in a supportive role now, just doing whatever's where's asked of him. I mean, he's recording shows, he's doing the videos, some audio, and we're going to release that. And even some of the stuff we're going to be doing some live streams. So if people don't come, they're going to be able to watch the whole thing now, which is what the new fad is since the COVID thing hit. All these musicians, and that's what gives me the greatest faith about why musicians and music is going to save the world, and always has and always will, and it's the highest art form, because they're going online every day and giving free shows. Every day they're giving free shows, and there's some that you can pay and do, but most of them are just sharing music every single day because that's what they do. And that's the bulk of my time is not spending watching the news, this or that. I'm playing with my family and kids. I'm still working. We're lucky that my business is still working. But I get home, I'm basically putting on live music because that's what's getting me through it, And I'm so thankful to all these musicians that that's what they're doing. They're not making any money. They're not making anything right now. Yeah. And they're just doing it because it's their hearts and they love it. And so that's what is giving me the most faith right now. So don't watch the news, man. Go listen to live music on the internet.
Yeah, we're spoiled rotten during this time because there are a lot of folks out there that have had gigs canceled and are putting their stuff out there and putting out virtual tip jars and trying to get by that way.
Yeah.
So if you're listening out there and you're listening to those folks, make sure you hit up their tip jar on Venmo or PayPal or whatever they've got set up, because most of them do. But we are. We're lucky in Hickory that, we do have, that place on the last Birdsong Society show, a couple Sundays ago, I was just so happy to see all those people, and most of all those people were from Hickory. So like we know that there are people that will support live music in this town and do, and just with yours and with what Bob does with the sales and all the other Hickory events, people come out for live music. And what we've also noticed is Hickory definitely loves having things to do, and having it be a big thing, and that when you have big things, people come, and not so much with live local music. That's a different conversation, but when you put on events like you guys are doing there, people will definitely fill it up and do it right.
Yeah, for sure. We've got a good thing going here that's feels like to me like just the beginning of it, and so far everything's going right. I mean, we had we could have sold 300 or 400 tickets on this, but our goal is not to make a ton, make a bunch of money. It's not to make any money at all. It's to break even and give people that experience where it feels like it's just you and the musician in the room. Like there's no interference, there's nothing in the way, and you get to just completely absorb it all. And then what that happens with the musician, they have a new connection with the audience that they don't usually get to have, because they feel the respect. They can see it on every single person's face, and when everybody's respecting the music in the room, they're able to go places they didn't even really expect to happen, or they didn't even know where they could go. And that's what I love about it. I mean, same thing though, I guess if you're at a big festival, right, and you're up on stage, imagine you're the Grateful Dead back in the day or whatever, and you're looking out and seeing 250,000 people or 100,000 people. That's going to inspire you in a completely different way too.
Sure.
But the intimacy of it, that's what acoustic. I mean, that's what Birdsong's all about. That was born from the acoustic stage experience that they had for 20 years of doing this. So I'm fairly new to this, but the people I'm working with and we're all working together, they're not new to it. Like they know how to do it. So it's just super cool. I feel real lucky to be a part of it. And everybody else that's stepped up, like you, Bobby Grace, I've had other people that volunteer to help. They all understand that, like, we're in this together. It's like, hey, what can I do? I have some people say, hey, what can I do? And I'm like, well, what you can do is tell me who you want to see in Hickory. Like, who do you want to have come to Hickory? And then tell me, and we're going to get together in groups. We're going to consult. And if they fit the budget, we're going to go get them. We get enough people that want it, we're going to go make it happen. And I thought at first it would be maybe difficult reaching out to the booking agents or the band directly, but we've done both. We've sometimes gone out to the agents, sometimes gone to the band, and then both times, or anytime we've done it, we've got like a great response. And I'm like, wow, okay, they're eager for this, and we pay well. I mean, it's not like it's trying to dwindle them down to $500 to come and play, or $250 or whatever. We're trying to pay them what they deserve, if not a little bit more.
Right. So, yeah, and I think that's important too, because whenever the bands feel appreciated, they're going to try to put on a better show. I mean, that's just human nature. Like, you kind of get what you pay for sometimes. And, what I'm really interested in hearing from you is, what is the community response? What do people in Hickory, what are they gravitating to? Are they gravitating more towards that, that Americana thing, or is it, depend on age group? Does it depend on gender? Like, what feedback have you gotten in your plight?
Yeah. Well, as far as like the first show that was Hawktail, those were musicians that were in their, I would say, early 30s. They're, just almost savants, at what they do. And the majority of the audience that were there, I would say, was over 40, over 50 years old, probably the bulk of people in their 50s and 60s. Everybody that was there had a great response to it, but I would definitely say that was, more toward a mature audience than a younger audience. So Bandits on the Rung, their music is geared to a little bit younger of an audience, but the same people that were at Hawktail that were in that more mature audience loved it just as much as the young folks. What I'm hearing that they're wanting, everybody wants to have like a Sam Bush. They want to have Dells.com, but that's $10,000.
Sure.
So that's tough. So, but at the same time, there might be some young Sam Bushets out there, which, the biggest guy right now rising up, you know who it is.
Yeah, who? Billy Strings? Yeah,
Billy Strings, right? So that's dream scenario. So who is that next Billy Strings? That's why we need people to be in our group and tell us, hey, you need to go check out this guy.
Yeah,
you need to hear it. And I would say most of the part, man, it is acoustic music. I would say for the bulk of it, acoustic music. It doesn't even really need to have drums. Like I've always needed drums in all the bands I've loved. Well, most of the bands that people will recommend and when they would come to here, they don't have drummers. It's just a 3-piece, 4-piece, and it's generally bluegrass, traditional music based. And people like classical a lot. So, there's that combination, which is kind of what Hawktail was doing a little bit. It was the combination of bluegrass and a little bit of the classical influence mixed in with a little bit of free form, where the way they would color the music would get almost a little jazzy. They were going in and out of the red and blue notes and the minor, major, and they were all kind of all over the place, and it was beautiful.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, as far as my tastes generally are rock and roll, alternative, blues-based music. And that's why it's nice to have all these people involved, that each of the people that are in there kind of have different musical tastes. So I reached out to a guy the other day. He's in Brooklyn. He's called Braja, Brahja. And I just discovered his music on Spotify. I mean, he's got like 1,000 listens or something like that. But it's this West African sounding jazz mixed with American music. And it's just like, I don't know, it's just, you can sit back and it's got lots of space to it. So it's he's playing a saxophone on it. So I reached out to him. He's trying to work out a way to get through here, because that's one of my goals. I want to have more world music. I want to have like West African jazz. I want to have some type of, Latin jazz coming through there. I want to have some new alternative music, but probably the central focus of what we're doing is acoustic, traditional, bluegrass-ish based music. But you want to have your mind blown away. That's what Skipper wants. He wants to go there and be taken away by somebody who's worked at their craft so long and so hard that they feel free just to go on a journey with their instrument.
Right.
He wants to be taken there by that journey,
Sure. And, I think we, Skipper and I had a quick conversation after the show, and, I know that's where where he's like, I love the players. And I'm the same way. I love the players too. But that's kind of going back to what you were talking about with Billy Strings, is that guy, like, he really does. This podcast is turning into more with I'm with the band now, but he's more of that stepping out there and getting crazy with your instrument. But we would love Billy Strings to come to Hickory, but I'm gonna put Rob Lackey on the spot here. I had a conversation with him recently. You need to send this to him, because he's got some really cool things that they're going to be doing with that amphitheater down by the river. And he said that he was going to get Billy Strings. So I'm going to put him on the spot right now. If he's listening, you need to honor that commitment. Well, we'll tag him. We'll tag him in this when this podcast goes out. We'll definitely tag him and go. Yeah, he's putting out some. Speaking of, this podcast usually does talk about food reviews. Like we'll usually have our guests come on after we go eat lunch, and we talk about the food that we had, and we didn't get to do that today because of what's going on in the world. And so I thought that in lieu of our food segment, that we would actually talk about what we think is the best plate of food in Hickory. And I'm not talking about best restaurant overall or any of that. Just what do you think is the best? What do you think is the best plate of food in Hickory?
That's easy.
All right, let's hear it.
There's only one choice that I got: Pollo Guerrero at El Paso.
Okay, tell us about it.
It's chicken. It's breasted. It's like a chicken breast that's been flattened with queso on top and chorizo, and then it's got like smoked or grilled jalapenos on the side that you slice up, with the rice and beans on the plate and the fresh lettuce and the pico. And there's just something about that combination of the chicken, cheese, chorizo, lettuce, tomato, pico, little salsa verde, even mix it together. It's unbelievable.
Man, I tell you, Man, speaking of Rob Wacky, I'm a pretty big fan of that chicken waffles over there at Cafe Rule. Dude.
Oh yeah.
It's so good. It's 1 and 2 probably behind the Trout at the Vintage House. It's real good. Ooh. And then I don't know, but okay, there's 3, and it's the chicken paella at Boca.
Yeah, dude, that's all. Hey, you just reminded me of one. At the Vintage House, they got this duck pasta.
Oh yeah,
it is unbelievable. It's got the same kind of gravy, as you call it, really a sauce, but it's like a French gravy that they put with the escargot. The escargot at Vintage House is probably my favorite bite in all of Hickory. It's up there with like what I got in Paris, except for it's not like butter, parsley and garlic mixed. It's got more of a traditional, like almost like a mushroom gravy that the escargot sitting in. But anyway, they put that on that duck pasta dish. It is unbelievable. Unbelievable. I forgot about that.
Yeah, there's so many really good spots to eat in this town. We try to highlight one good one every week, and I just thought that it'd be awesome to talk about today. There are just some bang up dishes that come out of Hickory, and just the fast casual dining. Like you can't really kick out of bed the buffalo chicken wrap at Backstreets, like stuff like that.
Dude, the Buffalo Bill at the tap room. The tap room has the best fryer in all of Hickory. The way they fry their chicken. I don't know how they do it, whether it's crispy. It's got like that tangy hot sauce on it. Oh my God. It's wonderful. What else is there? I mean, there's some others that are like, Hatch. Can't get wrong with Hatch. Good local place.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. We reviewed Hatch not too long ago, and it was that. I like the veggie mabi there. That thing is off the charts. So
that place Bubbles or whatever it's called, it's out near the mall. They got the kimchi fries. You ever had the kimchi fries out there?
Yeah, those are great too. That used to be House of Nom Nom, correct?
Yep, House of Nom Nom. Yeah, I went out there when it was that, and I'd get that in the banh mi. And then, I think the best egg roll is there at that place. What's it called? Good For You.
Oh yeah,
they got the best fried egg roll, and like it's up there with 477 in Newton.
Right.
But
man, I would hate to be remiss without bringing this up as well. On the last StreetCircleDrive podcast, Andy, I don't know if you listened to it or not, but we had Aaron Bessie, who was assistant athletic director at LR, and we went to JD Smokehouse in Valdez.
Oh yeah.
Have you ever been there?
Oh yeah, I have.
Okay, so JD Smokehouse just got rated by one of those barbecue magazines as the best barbecue restaurant in the state of North Carolina over Lexington Barbecue.
All right, good for them.
I mean, come on, right? I mean we kind of talked about it and how we thought it was like the overwhelming sides champion of the universe. Like it was really good. But anyway, I digress.
I like that, man. No, it's all good, man. I got 2 that I love that are barbecue places. I'm more of a Texas guy, though. I like the way they do it in Texas rather than North Carolina. I know I'm gonna get probably if you had 1 million people listening to this, there's gonna be 700,000 North Carolina gonna hunt me down. But I like 12 Bones, their ribs that they got up in Asheville. And then down east at that's South Carolina though. That's down on Sullivan's Island. It's called Game. I forgot what it's called. But they got a drink called the Game Changer. I'll think of the name in a second. They got a drink called the Game Changer that when you drink one, it lives up to its name. Your afternoon is not the same again. You are, and then they got the biscuit. It's unbelievable. So I like JD's though. Don't get me wrong. I like Greens and I like Hush Puppies though. They don't have either.
I don't.
So I gotta.
Well, they got to
knock them down for that.
They got to step it up because I like them too.
Better cornbread, but
no doubt. Right on. Well, Andy, we appreciate you being on the mesh today, man. We're gonna wrap this one up, and if people want to go check out the Birdsong Society, where can they go?
All right, so we're on Facebook and on Instagram. Both are probably the best places to do it. Follow along, and we'll be putting up some announcements. When all this, I don't know, when things become a little bit more clear, try to plan some things for the future, because we can't stop planning just because things are haywire right now. So we'll put some stuff up, man. Instagram, Facebook, and if anybody ever wants to get in touch, even with me directly, they can do that.
Awesome. And that's the Birdsong Society. You can catch them on Facebook. And, as far as our events portion of this podcast goes, guys, everything's kind of up in the air right now, but I can tell you that downtown, as of today, Thursday, March 26th at 2:35 p.m., all the events are going on schedule. The City Walk Summer Celebration is happening June 6th. Oktoberfest is going on the second weekend of October. Hickory Hops has got moved to September. So we're looking ahead at downtown events too. So keep your chin up, Hickory. Andy, thanks for being on. This has been Street Circle Drive here on The Mesh. Be sure to check out the rest of our shows on www.themesh.tv.
You've been listening to The Mesh, an online media network of shows and programs ranging from business to arts, sports to entertainment, music to community. All programs are available on the website as well as through iTunes and YouTube. Check us out online at themesh.tv. Discover other network shows and give us feedback on what you just heard.